Okay, before the other tape ran out, I was just saying that this is the rudder. And just have the one. And you can see the holes where the oars would have gone. This boat, I think it said, would have had 32 oarsmen on it. We're on the ferry that takes us from Oslo city centre over to the Viking Ship Museum, which is on the other side of the fjord. And that is where our ferry came in last night. That's not it. Over here there's a ski jump. See it later anyway. And that's Oslo. Okay, down there is downtown Oslo. We had lunch in front of that big building there. And behind me now is the Royal Palace. And we're going to walk straight up to it. Do you mind not swearing while I'm filming? Okay, we've now made it to the top of the hill overlooking Oslo. And what we've got here is apparently one of the most famous ski jumps in the world. Holmenkollen. That's way up there. You can climb up there if you want to, but no, we don't want to. It's a long way. We're just wondering if they drain it out in winter. Maybe it's just ice. Looks like jumps there for acrobatics. And here we're now looking down onto Oslo. And looking out into the fjords. We left Oslo a couple of hours ago. We're heading north, trying to get to the Arctic Circle. At the moment we're about 100 km short of Lillehammer. That's where the Winter Olympics were, the last ones. And Denise reckons this is the longest lake in Norway, so we should be following it virtually all the way up to Lillehammer. First drive in Norway. Okay, the time is about 1:30. We've just stopped for lunch. And we made it as far as Lillehammer so far. And up there is the ski jumps. One on the left is for the long jumping, one on the right is for freestyling. And this is where the Olympics were in 1994. We've turned off the main road about 45 minutes north of Lillehammer to have a look at a stave church. They're the original churches of Norway, and this one dates from the early 1200s. And stave basically means they're made out of vertical planks of wood. About 200 k's south of Trondheim on the same day. We're up in the snow country already. And the weather's turned a little bit nasty. we're trying to get to, which is Trondheim, is about 50 k's away, is at sea level. So we're going to have to start going down pretty soon. So we're about 2 kilometres up at the moment. Thought I'd better show you the collie sticker on the van. Southwest, Bunbury. And we're still heading to Trondheim. Still about 150 k's away. Yeah, it's quite chilly here. I don't know what this is all about, but it's an eye test. Some of these little rest stops have these eye tests for some reason. Maybe the cops pull you over and check you. Okay, we finally reached Trondheim. Which is a very nice place. A lot bigger than I thought it would be too. Just behind the trees there, that is the summer residence of King Olav, I think his name is. So we saw his palace in Oslo where he stays in winter, and this is his summer residence. Absolutely no security at all. Town square. Oh, that's named Cathedral, Nidrosia Cathedral. This cathedral was built on the site of a holy well where one of the early kings was buried. And after he was buried, a spring sprung up from his grave that healed the sick and wounded. So then they built this church over top of it. Now that's unusual. There's a bishop holding his own head. I suppose that must be Adam and Eve. Okay, now have a guess where we are. Yes, we've made it to hell. Finally. And you think I'm kidding? Look. This is Hell train station. This is bizarre.
Oh, it says goods, something like goods transportation or something.
Yeah, that doesn't mean what it reads in English. That's
Goods is goods.
yeah, that's like goods and transportation or something. Across the road there's a Hell supermarket. I love it. Okay, so we've been everywhere now.
We haven't found heaven yet.
Funny thing is, it does look like the train station from Hell too. And that is the way north to the Arctic Circle. Okay, we're in a town now, we think it's called Musjuan. This is where we stayed last night. And our caravan park had a view just like this. Looking straight up there. And here's one of those timber mills where they float the logs up and down the fjords, up the river. Show you some more stickers in the back of the van. There's a good one there. And we've been climbing this mountain for about 20 minutes now, and we've reached the top. And way up there is a glacier. So we're almost level with it up here. Well, it's not that cold here. Looks like we start go down, down, down. Well, it's taken 2 weeks of driving, but we finally made it. At the moment I'm just inside the Arctic Circle. See if I can find the line. See, there's 2 monuments there. They line up. Yeah, I'm just inside it. Got nice weather over there. Even though there's not a single tree in sight here, 2 kilometres down the road is a forest. So basically the circle does cut off the difference between like the forest and the barren areas like this. These little monuments here, you're supposed to make a little cairn whenever you cross the circle. Looks more like a graveyard. And it's cold up here. Okay, I'm just south of the circle. Denise is in it. And here's all the monuments that line up. Okay, we're now in Sweden. And just driving along, we've seen these reindeer.
Oh, they're coming this way.
Good time to get a flat battery, isn't it?
Oh no.
See if I can get closer, eh? That's about close we're going to get.
Yeah, I think so.
At least we saw some.
Finally. They're not.
Welcome to Stockholm, which is the capital of Sweden. We've come to the Vasa Ship Museum to see the Vasa ship. It was launched in 1628 and was sunk a few minutes later. And they pulled it out in 1961, they rebuilt it. They found it was in 10,000 pieces. Okay, this is a model of what it originally would have looked like. And on the back of the boat there, they're researching to find out what colours are actually on the boat. And eventually the whole ship will be painted in its original colours. Apparently the ship sunk when it was launched because there's no ballast inside it, so as soon as it hit the water it just tipped over. Amazing how tall this ship is. Okay. What you can see there would have looked like this originally. These slits is where the musketeers would have fired from. We're going to go for a walk now, follow that road and see what we can see. Try and find the Royal Palace maybe, which I think is over there. Denise is doing the guided tour. You got the book there? Show us your book. Okay. This is the walking tour of Stockholm. And at least we found the palace. Which is that. Which is the largest royal palace in the world. Still in use. Was it 680 rooms?
Yeah, 608.
608. So we'll go for a bit more of a walk. We have since found out that's the Swedish Houses of Parliament. And we're in front of the palace at the very moment. Those masts there are the top of the Vasa Museum. And we're now on the steps of the palace. As a part of our guided tour, this is the rear of the palace. Or it could be the front, we don't know. This is an old medieval square where there once was a massacre of 85 people here And the white tiles on that building represent every one of these people that were murdered. 85 tiles. And it was a Danish king that led the massacre, because Sweden used to be ruled by the Danes. We drowned in this rain. This is Stockholm's town hall. This is where the Nobel Peace Prize is awarded every year. And it's famous for its gold, what? That's real gold, is it?
No, it's gold and blue halls.
Whatever.
Which is where they hold the prize.
Alright,
the name
I'll
of the
get you.
halls inside.
Gold and blue. Okay. Okay, we're now leaving Sweden. That's Helsingborg. And we're sailing to Denmark, which is over there. Which is Helsingborg. So we've got Helsingborg and Helsingborg. It's supposed to be 20 minutes, 20-minute journey.
It's supposed to be, doesn't look like it'll take that long.
That looks about 5 or 10. And it still costs us 40 quid. Okay, welcome to Copenhagen, which is famous for the Little Mermaid. And we're not sure why. And look how popular it is.
Si vous tombez, vous me le dites.
We're just around the corner from the Little Mermaid. Not too sure what this is, but it's nice. This is Denise in Copenhagen on a Sunday. Very quiet. This is the largest city in Scandinavia. Don't know where to go on the weekends. I just got to film this fountain. Dates back to 1604. It's weird. And the sign said they just restored it. Well, we found out where all the people are anyway. It's all around here. This is the town hall. Bizarre statues in this town. Okay, we're still in Copenhagen. It's Monday morning and we're booked in for the 11 o'clock brewery tour. This is Carlsberg Brewery. I'd like to know what the swastikas mean. We're hoping to do 2 brewery tours today, but it looks like Carlsberg now own Tuborg, so we can only get the 1 set of free drinks.
Maybe we'll get 4 instead of 2.
If we're lucky. Oh, we're still in Copenhagen. We finished our brewery tour, which is very good. What we're doing here was hide these bikes. They're everywhere. You put 20 kroner in the slot there. It's like a shopping trolley. And you take it back and you get your 20 kroner back. Luckily I got the Tuborg bike. Which is made at the brewery. That's one of the many palaces that's in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And over there is the old stock exchange. And I think we'll take off and go for a bit of a ride. Hey, welcome to Berlin. This is the Luftwaffe Museum, and we walked about an hour from our caravan park, only because we knew it was free to get in. And there's hundreds of planes here. Pity I can't read German. I think this is the front end of one of the very first jet fighters. Actually fought in the Second World War. It says there invasion in Normandy, summer 1944. That's it there. The model. This little plane was rocket powered. It says there it could do 1,000 kilometres an hour. In 1942, I think it says. I'd strap it under a bomber and just let it go. This is the rocket engine. There's a lot in there, isn't there? Yeah, this chopper just flew over our heads, but we didn't have time to get the cameras back out again. Hopefully it might take off and fly back this way. Okay, at least now we know why we weren't allowed over there. There's more!
Must be about 30 now.
Come backwards. away in the distance there is Brandenburg Gate. We're in now East Berlin. Obviously West Berlin's the other side of the gates. This is our second day in Berlin, first day looking around. I think this area is known as Museum Island because almost every building's a museum. That's called the Dom Cathedral. Apparently it's a nice view from up there. Television tower. Apparently this building is called the Palace of the Republic. So that was obviously the Soviet East German government. This is the Palace of the Republic again. We just realised that it's completely empty. And just noticed the reflection of the cathedral. About an hour's walking, we finally found a piece of the wall that's still left behind. There's not much of it. There's probably only about 100 metres of it left here. This is obviously like no man's land in the middle here, where they shot you if you jumped over the wall. And over here there's bits of it chopped up, cut up into sections. There's a few crosses around here, so maybe this is where some of those people got shot. There's a graveyard there anyway. And East Berlin is completely different from the west of Berlin. All the buildings in the east, it's dirty concrete buildings that are falling apart, and there's a lot of rebuilding going on over there. Yep, we're inside Kaiser Wilhelm's Church in Berlin. This is what the outside of Kaiser Wilhelm's Church looks like. It was actually bombed during the Second World War. This is all that remains of it. monument, which is a name I've forgotten, is to commemorate the wars that Russia had in the mid-1800s. They fought 3 different countries in 8 years, and they must have won them all, because that statue is called Victoria, so they must have been victorious. The whole monument used to be somewhere else, but I think in the 20s they shifted it. Over there in the distance is the remains of Kaiser Wilhelm's church. And we're now probably about a quarter of the way up this victory column. It's about 285 steps. All this area around here is called the Tiergarten, which used to be the hunting ground for the royalty. Straight down this road is Brandenburg Gates. This road is called Unter der Linden, which means under the lime trees. Okay, we finally made it to the top. Nice view. Looking out over Tiergarten. And on this side we overlook the Brandenburg Gates and the old East Berlin, which is beyond the gates. That's the Dom Cathedral we were looking at yesterday. Television tower, apparently you can go up there, it should be a nice view. Yeah, there's a lot of building going on in the east. Probably because all the buildings are falling down anyway. Okay, we're now standing in the middle of the road in Unter den Linden. Over here is a memorial to the Russian soldiers which died in the fighting here in Germany. Straight down here is the gates. Okay, we're back in Eastern Berlin now. There used to be 14 of these gates. This is the only one left. And they were the gates for the city. Because this was actually Berlin, and out there was just a hunting ground for the royal family. So the royal family would go out in the day, come back at night and lock the gates. This is all that remains of Checkpoint Charlie, which was one of the 2 routes in and out of East Berlin. This is the only control tower left. It's all going to be built on, so another year's time there'll be nothing left at all. from Checkpoint Charlie. There's a memorial cross here and a story about someone who died trying to cross the wall in 1962. Next door is like a scrapyard. It's got all the old control towers and bits of the old bridge, the old wall left. Okay, we're still in Berlin. This is Saturday and we're at the Olympic Stadium. Built for the 1936 Olympics. That's where the flame would have been. And this is when Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals. 100, 200. Where else? There we go. Long jump. And 4x100 metres. There's no Aussies here, but there's one Kiwi right there. New Zealand. Next door, built at the same time as a hockey stadium, which is just as impressive. So that's the Olympic Stadium. There's the Olympic Hockey Stadium. Here's the Olympic Swimming Stadium. This is the main entrance of the Olympic rings. Looks like it's made out of limestone. Limestone and concrete. We're now in a place called Potsdam, the village of Potsdam, which is just on the outskirts of Berlin, and which is famous for its royal palaces. This is only just one of about, I think there's about at least 5 or 6 palaces in this one park. It's called San Souci Park, I think it's called. And I think this is called the New Palace. And there's a lot of rebuilding going on the other palaces. This is one. It's being renovated. Back to the new palace. See there the difference in the statues, and they're cleaned than the way they used to be. And the bottom. Still haven't found the main palace yet. This one's nice. This is the main palace, Sans Souci. I'm standing at the entrance to the Sans Souci Palace, which is up this steep ramp. And here's the front gates. Very popular with tourists. And Denise alike.
We're here.
Might go back around the garden, I think. Have another look. The garden looks spectacular from down below, but when you're up here, you can see there's nothing to it at all. All these glass doors are little greenhouses. This palace is called the Orangery, probably because it's orange. And behind it is the old windmill. We went up there. There's nothing inside it, which is a pity. It's a nice view up there though. It dates from 1739, which makes it older than all the palaces in this park. Of course, Sans Souci Palace is from about 1747, which is the oldest one. Still in Sans Souci Park, This is called the China House. This was built 1754. Just covered in gold leaf. Okay, welcome to Prague, capital of Czech Republic. And we're now standing in the old town square. That is the old town hall. It's founded 1338. It's also famous. There's a clock on the other side that was made in the 14th century. Hopefully I can film that later. It goes off every hour. This carriage is a bit upmarket. I just noticed they've got disc brakes and shock absorbers. And the horses have got special shoes so they can walk on the cobblestones because they're slippery. We've moved on down to the river. This is still the old town section. I think Prague's most famous site, one of them, is this Charles Bridge. This is a tower on the old town section. And the bridge crosses the river into what they call Lesser Town. The bridge itself is nearly 600 years old. And on top of the hill there, That's Prague Castle. Hello. See the National Theatre from here. See? That's where Mozart used to play. Top of the hill, there's a replica of the Eiffel Tower. That's the end of the bridge in Old Town. It's supposed to be what they call Lesser Town. Tram. Not as fancy as others in Europe, but they're very cheap. They cost less than £1 a day to ride the trams and buses. Probably go to the castle tomorrow morning, I think. There's too much to see around here today. Okay, we're now in the Jewish quarter of Prague, which is called the ghetto. What's this one called again?
The Old New Synagogue.
The Old New Synagogue. from the 1200s. And next door is a cemetery where there's the headstones is piled on top of each other. Can't really see it from there. Well, we've got the Jewish quarter right, but we've got the synagogues wrong. And this is the old new synagogue from the 1200s, and which you can see nothing of.
Another view of Prague. This is a different beers. There's many more than this. This is just what we've got for our personal stash. Last a day, maybe. And this is a caravan park. It's very quiet. There's hardly anyone around. There's a new camper there, mobile home there, and us.
Okay, this is Prague Castle. And we just had a changing of the guard. This is Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge again. Further over here, the church is in the old town square. The building behind it's called the Powder Tower, about 1400s. Something else I recognise is the National Museum. We went a couple of days ago. I lost it. There it is. That's in King Wenceslas Square. I think we've seen just about all the Pragues. Okay, we're in the heart of the castle now, which is so big there's actually street names here. And that's St. George's Basilica. And on the right hand side is St. Vitus Cathedral. This is still St. Vitus Cathedral. This is a mosaic that was built in the early 1300s, and the mosaic has a glass covering on it, and most of it's turned white. We're trying to restore it. There's a couple of little patches that have been restored. I'm hoping to do the whole lot. built on the site of a Roman basilica. Just over there you can see the remains of a Roman building. And behind that cage there's the foundations of the Roman basilica that used to be here. Under there. Okay, we're back out at the front of the castle to see what it looks like without tourists. It was 12 o'clock when the changing of the guards happened, so everybody must come here for that. It's something we didn't know about. We're still in Czech Republic. We're down in the south at the moment, in the town called Český Krumlov, which is an old medieval village. This is probably the town square, I think. You can see they're doing the town up after all those years of communism. I now realise it's a big tourist area, this town. I think outside of Prague is probably the most famous tourist town. This is very nice though. Up on top of the hill there, it's I'm not sure if it's called Krumlov Castle or not, but it's supposed to be the second biggest castle in Czech Republic. Well, that bit looks ugly, but up here very nice. Now at the gates of the castle. And here's a bear enclosure. The bear moat. The other side of the bridge is much nicer than this. What? Look on it. We're in the castle gardens at the moment, and we have to walk up this really steep hill to get here. Just over here, this is obviously a shortcut for the royalty. This walkway. This side's fallen apart, the other side's been mostly renovated. As part of our world tour of Europe, we've moved on to Austria. And this is Vienna. This is their parliament building. And we'll just go for a walk and have a look around. Down that way, we just had a look at St. Vital Cathedral. And right here's the Rathaus, which means Town Hall. This is in front of the Vienna Town Hall. We're setting up for a big night here. Got like